Yo, what's up, guys? Good to be back. Good to have you here with me on, where are we? Thursday, May 9th. Trucking right along here in May. Jeez. Anyway, we're going to call this one the space episode. The space episode. I get a lot of people that tell me, Jordan, why do you talk about aliens? Drop the UFO stuff. Why does it even matter? And it definitely matters. Number one, it's all connected. Everything's connected. And we're talking about existential understandings here. Understanding ourselves, our place in the cosmos. That's pretty important. Give you a hell of a new perspective. We're also talking about technologies, understanding sciences and technologies that are much closer to the truth than what they tell us in the mainstream, and mind-blowing, paradigm-changing, can change our Earth like that. Very important, okay? So we're definitely going to be talking about UFOs, extraterrestrials, free energy, throwing in a little bit of a Space Force pole shift in there, Antarctica. It's going to be a good one. So thanks for tuning in. A little bit of housekeeping to start. A couple of things I want to share with you guys. Number one, my website, jordansather.com. You can go there, sign up for my newsletter. This little pop-up should come up where you can put your email in. If not, you can scroll to the bottom, and that right there. And then you can check out, say, the event page. You can see where I'm going to be at this summer. You can check out the shop. I got some orgonite up there, new pendants, new pyramids. Got a bunch of new flavors of Ormus, some new sizes too, so you can check out those things. Pretty amazing sciences behind orgonite and Ormus. Much I want to share with you there. And then a word from our sponsor, helps me do these videos for you guys, NOBLEGOLD. Helping you invest your money in precious metals. They have free guides, free ebooks. There'll be a link in the description where you can go pick up their investment guides. A lot of great free information they put out. And they also have some awesome commemorative coins. They have this Donald Trump collectible 1-ounce silver coin, touting his economic establishments. Really sweet coin, and they recently just came out with this 10-ounce silver bar. Their United We Stand bar. American flag on the front. You can get these as a combo, get them separately. There'll be some promo codes in the description below. So now let's move on into the articles, starting with this one here. These span over the last about week or so. I got some catch up to do here, so we're going to jump around with these. But this came out from the Daily Mail. Why alien life no longer seems like science fiction. Expert claims recent discoveries, including organic compounds on Mars, suggest finding ET is, quote, inevitable and possibly imminent. Okay. So what they're doing here with these particular articles coming out in the mainstream, we found new exoplanets, we found some organic compounds on this asteroid or Mars or megastructures, these sorts of things. What they're trying to do is normalize this topic for public consumption. You see, because the powers that be are trying to sell, in essence, a partial UFO disclosure to the public right now, they need to get the public to start talking about this subject seriously, okay? And the way it's been for the last, 60, 70 years, the propaganda warfare, psychological warfare against the public about this topic has been one of ridicule. They've gotten people to laugh off these ideas about UFOs and extraterrestrials and whatnot for decades and decades. And also fear. A lot of fear ingrained into people about extraterrestrials. Just look at all the movies put out of Hollywood the past 40 years. All ingrain this fear into people that just makes them scared, period, to even talk about it. So they don't, and they have a tough time then logically thinking about it and deconstructing it. So they're getting people to take these ideas seriously, saying, hey, it's scientific, it's a matter of time, so talk about these things, think about these things, so they can then sell their gatekeepers, their smoke screens, okay? They get people to normalize it, take it seriously, and then in the mainstream media, they insert their gatekeepers, the people that they're trying to basically herd the sheep to, There's a lot of gatekeepers in the alternative media, and that they're selling at the mainstream media level, and they're trying to herd people into them to get their UFO narratives, you see? So some of the half-truths we're seeing, for instance, in this article, they're making it all seem like it's chemistry-based. Yeah, life is just a chemistry problem. Not really. It's kind of more of an electrical problem. And when you think of electricity being everywhere, it's as if ETs are already here. It's not chemistry necessarily. It's all an electric function. So there's a little bit of half-truths that they're all putting out in these mainstream media articles. And then let's take a look at the gatekeepers. So Washington Post, perfect mainstream media outlet for me to highlight here. The Washington Post, along with the, we'll say, New York Times, have really been at the pinnacle. They've been spearheading, putting out a lot of these partial disclosure UFO articles, these, quote, breakthroughs and disclosures, etc. All the other mainstream media outlets just parrot off, mainly with these two put out. And the Washington Post was reporting on the U.S. Navy redoing their UFO reporting guidelines. That news breaking in recent weeks about the U.S. Navy redrafting or redoing their UFO reporting guidelines within their service. And when that was put out, all these mainstream corporate media outlets then took every opportunity they could to write articles about this and then insert their gatekeepers. That gatekeeper at the mainstream level, in this case, being the To the Stars initiative, this disclosure of the ATIP program. You've got, Tom DeLonge's To the Stars with Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon, a lot of names I could rattle off here, but basically, this is connected to John Podesta, connected to Harry Reid, connected to highly questionable individuals. A lot of the information we're getting about To the Stars and this ATIP program is coming out of, say, the New York Times. And again, a lot of these questionable mainstream media outlets. So what's the intent behind this? What's the motive behind it? Well, if we're talking limited hangout or partial UFO disclosure, could the deep state want a distraction right now? Distraction from this FISA stuff blowing up, the deconstruction of the Russia narrative, so many other things that could come out that could expose the deep state. They definitely want a distraction from that. So why not then distract the public? Give them just a little bit of information, spin the context of it, try to hide a bunch of things, but tell them a little bit about UFOs that'll wow the public. Then hopefully the deep state hopes that they can brush the rest under the rug, but due to our journalistic efforts, our digital soldier citizenry, that's not going to happen. So Washington Post inserting the gatekeeper here, the whole To the Stars fiasco that's coming out. So many inconsistencies in what we're hearing about that program and the personalities that are putting out the information about it. And why May is so pivotal. Why May is so pivotal is because May 31st, the very end of May, the To the Stars Academy, that whole program, the organization is collaborating on a 6-part History Channel series due out this month, May 31st, that will explore Elizondo's work on the issue. Tom DeLonge is going to be involved. It's, these individuals, whether they're being useful idiots, they don't realize the potential agenda behind this whole partial disclosure, or they're consciously deceiving. I don't know. I can't say myself, but again, look at the motive behind all of this. Look at the individuals involved, the news organizations involved. A lot of people and organizations that don't have a good track record behind this. So it's just odd to me, Understand that when you're trying to dissect these sorts of things. And also on the topic of limited hangout disclosures, but rather than UFOs and secret government programs, let's talk technology. So let's move into discussing fusion. I'm seeing fusion as being sold to the public at the mainstream level lately as this new solution to our energy problems, or this new technology that's about to make its big breakthrough that's going to save us from climate change. There's a lot of ways they're selling it, but basically, nuclear fusion. NBC running this article here, fusion power startups go small in effort to bring commercial reactors to life. This isn't the only article we're seeing. There's a lot. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, this conglomerate of, quote, experts. I'm always very wary of that word, experts. Very loaded word. But the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists are a lot of, we'll call them white coats, got their doctoral plaques. They promote quite a bit of what we could call establishment science, I believe to be false narratives. They're also touting fusion fusion's greatest hits, as detailed in the bulletin. And then futurism, another mainstream scientific news outlet saying scientists have a new idea to make a fusion reactor practical. So this is going to be their next big sell. And the problem here, the reason it's a limited hangout meaning, again, they're giving you a tiny piece in effort to hide the rest. Well, they're trying to get people excited, wow them, sell these ideas as if it's going to save us from climate change, something like that. Of course, climate change not really being human caused, but having a lot of non-terrestrial causes behind it. What about free energy technology, zero-point energy technology? Point here being, what do we need all this expensive fusion for? What about a zero-point magnetic motor that you could fit in a shoebox that can power a home, off-grid, decentralized, right? These technologies have existed. They do exist. They've been suppressed for decades and decades, if not a century or more. And they're very real. I mean, we could have these right now, but we don't. And they're not telling us about them. What they're telling us is about fusion, because deep staters out there like Bezos, like Bill Gates, they're investing hundreds of millions, a lot of money into fusion. Again, another article from NBC, why Bezos and Gates are betting on this $10 trillion energy fix for the planet. They're selling it with their hook, energy fix for the planet, yet it's 10 trillion. Holy crap. 10 trillion? Who's going to pay for it? The contractors that have took all the money from the Pentagon? It's absolutely absurd. And again, because we could have technologies that could just change this paradigm, electromagnetic energy, call them over unity generation systems, they output more electricity than it takes to run them. Shoot, give a couple savvy inventors out there $10 million. They could put out this, create this device that could not only have energy generation, but we're talking lift, propulsion, electrogravitic propulsion, and shoot, 10 million is plenty. But, that's a whole nother story. So be wary of the UFO limited hangouts, half-ass UFO disclosures, half-ass energy technology disclosures we're seeing out of the mainstream. One thing that is exciting me about space news is Space Force. Number one, Donald Trump expected to name Patrick Shanahan, Permanent Defense Secretary. Patrick Shanahan being the ex-Boeing VP. If anybody knows some stuff about defense contracting and what technologies may exist that aren't at the public level, it's probably this guy, Patrick Shanahan. So the fact that he's going to be possibly permanently defense secretary, and there's a lot of national security leaders right now urging Congress to back the Space Force, some 20 or 30 high-profile individuals, ex-military intelligence, ex-representatives, ex-generals. They put out this open letter urging Congress to back a Space Force. It's gaining popularity. It's gaining acceptance, this Space Force. And as I've been saying, I think the Space Force is a crucial component of the plan for disclosure. Number one, gaining access to a lot of these black projects. A lot of these black projects that are sort of quasi-corporate, sort of governmental at the same time. It's number one, gaining access, figuring out where they are, who has control of them, getting control of them, and then finding a way to disclose them. I think the Space Force would be a great way to do that. These technologies, the missing monies, et cetera, et cetera. And also, with the Space Force, they are totally destroying, overtaking any sort of partial UFO disclosure that we're seeing, partial space/technology disclosure. Space Force, knocked out of the water. What will come out of the Space Force over the next, if and when it gets installed over the next 2, 4, 6 years? We could learn some incredible stuff, see incredible things come out by way of the Space Force. And how about the news about different military technologies? Lasers being able to shoot down missiles. It's if these things are ramping up too. So they being the Alliance, or the White Hats behind the scenes, they've got to It's almost a battle for disclosure we're seeing right now, right? We've got the deep state over here that wants to sell a bunch of half-truths and let certain cats out of the bag, but then we have an alliance white hat group over here and maybe multiple, not saying it's 1 versus 2, but could be different factions with different agendas, but some of those factions and their agendas being for more open, full disclosure, they're having to let more cats out of the bag, let more things come out. So because the public is waking up as it is, the public's hungry for the truth, they're searching for it, they're finding it because of the internet. That's just making it tough on a lot of people, but also opening up the avenue for the full truth to come out, for the positive people in government, positive people in the military to get this stuff out. They're waiting for us. They're waiting for us to wake the heck up. I would imagine that these limited hangout UFO disclosures here, they're probably annoying a bunch of people in the top levels of the military and the Navy. This is probably annoying to them because it's trying to muddy the waters or distract from their disclosure agendas, right? So it's one thing to think about. All right, now moving on. 2 more things to discuss. What do you guys want? Pole shift or Antarctica? Let me know in the comments here. Want pole shift or Antarctica? I think there might be a little bit of a delay. We'll start with pole shift. How about that? Newsweek putting out this article a week ago. Earth's magnetic North Pole, is hurtling towards Siberia. And one day the whole field is going to flip. Pretty incredible stuff. We're seeing articles being ran like this in the mainstream media every few months or so about our pole shifting. Amazing stuff. So it's great that we're seeing all these ideas, UFOs, advanced technologies, pole shifts, being seen in the mainstream media. That's opening up the conversation, right? Don't get me wrong. I love seeing UFO articles come out in Washington Post and the New York Times, but it's very important for us to get the context straight, right? So that's why I'll feature an article from the New York Times, and then I'll say, this is where they're lying to you and misinforming you. So in regards to Newsweek's article on the pole shifts right here, they're talking about why does it move? Well, they give this really lame reason in like 5 sentences, which isn't really why it moves. It moves cyclically because of cosmic reasons, really, and there's cycles involved, solar cycles as well. They're not telling you that here. How fast does the North Pole normally move, and how does this change? They're saying, giving a couple statistics on how it's moving, and saying that it's going to be positioned at these particular spots. Well, maybe. Where will it go after Siberia? Again, a little 2-sentence answer. These are very complex topics you cannot understand in just a few short paragraphs. When will it flip next, and when did it happen last time? They give 2 dates, failed reversals. Again, it happens cyclically. This has happened many times. It'll happen more times, and it also coincides with solar shifts that happen. Can't plug enough. Ben Davidson, the Suspicious Observers YouTube channel. That's observers with a 0 instead of an O, I believe. He has been doing a Earth Catastrophe Cycle YouTube series over the last few months, 3, 4, 5 months. And there's some 20, 25 episodes of it now. Very detailed information on this solar shift, how that will combine with a Earth's pole shift. He details where it's moving, where it could end up. Very good. So to learn more about this topic, can't plug that one enough. Once I'm done here, I'll make a little card pop up wherever the heck it pops up there. And now let's talk about Antarctica. So I found this article intrigued me heavily on an Australian news site of all places, but it is mainstream. It's their ABC affiliate. It says, Chinese reportedly alarmed over Antarctic, quote, battle, but experts say, quote, a new U.S. base doesn't exist. Okay, backstory behind this one. Of course, Antarctica. A lot of mysteries there. Not going to get into all of that here, but essentially, in recent years, there's been this power struggle between China and the U.S., well, everywhere, but in Antarctica, of all places, as well. And what China was trying to do was expand its territory into Antarctica, but the U.S. said no, attempted to block it, because there's a base that was set up that, quote, appears to be backed by the U.S. military. Now, this article is questioning if the base even exists. Maybe it was just a made-up base for the U.S. military to try to stop Chinese advancement. Whatever's really going on, it's interesting to me to see China. Basically, it's as if they gained a bunch of intelligence from America. Again, we had the multiple Chinese intelligence officials that were arrested, indicted for stealing, whether they stole or were given aerospace secrets about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And then all the talk about corrupt politicians here in America selling, giving access to classified secrets to China. What I'm thinking is that China was gaining a bunch of intel from America about what we could call black project intelligence, secret space program research. I mean, you look at China's quantum advancements lately. They have a quantum radar. They have stealth technologies. They're trying to advance into Antarctica. It's as if China was sold, and you look at China's connections in with the CIA, the clowns. I think China was getting some intel, right? And they're acting on a bunch of that. And we're talking secret space program stuff. So here, I think the U.S. mail is trying to stop their advancement. China's sniffing around, trying to find some stuff down there that they are on the heels of discovering. So interesting power struggles going on. Global stage. There's a lot of technologies. I think of it as almost technology trafficking. We have human trafficking and drug trafficking, but technology trafficking is a thing. They keep these technologies secret. The defense contractors, Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, TRW, and then they keep them secret. They get paid money to maybe give out these secrets, or individuals like Hillary Clinton. What did she have on our server? What did she really have on our server? How much money did she get paid to maybe give some of those details out? So just wanted to let you guys know that, give you some of my thoughts on that. There you go. We went through Antarctica, pole shift, Space Force, free energy stuff, good old UFO disclosure. And that's all for this one, folks. So thank you so much for tuning in, watching me here, hanging out with me for a little while, doing this live. I'll be doing a few more of these in the coming days, some stuff to catch up on, then a whole bunch of new videos. So thank you guys. That's all for this one. Stay woke.